What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So I wanted to talk to you about one thing, and that's credit cards, right? I talk about credit cards a lot, but I wanted to talk about specifically how to use credit cards, how you should use credit cards if you are going to decide to apply for your first credit card or get your first credit card. And that's what I wanted to really go over in this video because it's an important thing, especially for people that want to build credit history. It's the easiest way to build credit history. Now, I've gone in the past saying that it's the only way that you really want to start. If you don't have credit cards, then you really aren't really establishing your credit. That's not the case. You can establish your credit other ways. It's just the easiest way to do it. Most people will start with a secured credit card or a very low credit limit on a credit card, something like that, something like $500 or $100 or whatever they can do. Especially with the secured, you'll start with $200. But I want to talk about how to use a credit card because it does affect everybody. But before I start, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos like this one. And make sure you get your 2 free stocks with Webull down below. And don't be afraid to use some of the referral links that I have below for different credit cards, Amex Gold card, the Amex Surpass card, the Hilton Honors Amex Surpass card, also the green card and things like that. Go ahead and check some of those links out if you're interested in those cards. But yeah, how should you use credit cards? Basically, there are a number of ways, a number of tips that you can use credit cards. But I really wanted to narrow it down to 4. And if you wanted to add on to it, make sure you add some down in the comments. But I wanted to talk about my most used tips when it comes to credit cards and using them. First, you want to pay the balance off in full. This is on everybody's list because you always need to pay the balance off in full, especially with the interest rates that credit cards have. If you look at a loan interest rate, a lot of times you can see some that are like 3% or 4%, depending on the amount of the loan. Like your mortgage loan will be like 3%, 4%. But then you could also see personal loans at 6%, 9%, things like that. But you look at credit cards and they're at 20, 30%, sometimes closer to 40% interest. That means if you pay the minimum payment, you're never going to pay that off. It's going to take you years to pay it off. It's not just like months. I mean, like years. And I'm not talking about like 1 or 2 years. I'm talking about like 10, 12, 15, 20 years. It's going to take you a long time to pay off that credit card balance that may only be $2,000, $3,000 while you're paying a $27 minimum payment that $20 of that is going to be eaten up by interest or something. It's crazy to say that interest rates are so high for credit cards. This is why people think that they're scams, because interest rates are so high. But you need to pay your balance off in full, get the full benefit that you can get from a credit card, and always pay it off in full. Take that balance of $1,000, pay the whole thing off. You paid no interest during that month. Next is something that I get back and forth. I get some sort of pushback from other people all the time. And that's that you never want to spend over 30% of your available credit. Now, I know some people are like, I don't even spend over 1%, which is ridiculous depending on how high your credit lines are. If you have just $1,000 credit line, then you're basically spending nothing. But then if you have a higher spending line, you're spending quite a bit depending on how high it is. But when I say 30%, when you look at your credit score, anything over 30% will push you into average in that category in credit utilization. So anything under 30% will push you into the green. Now, how far you get into being good or excellent is dependent on where your spending is, your percentages. So I always go with 3 areas. I go with 30% to 20% will be that first tier that gets you into the green. 20% to 10% will get you to that middle tier in the green. And then 10%, anything below 10% will get you in the excellent range to where your credit score will be the best in that category. Now, this is where I always get pushback, but you don't need to spend over 30%. Now, if you have a secured credit card, most likely you're going to have like $200 of spend and you're just starting out. So I wouldn't recommend that you put all of your bills on that $200 credit card. I would say that you put one bill in there, pay it off every single month, and then find a way to get to a point where you can get an unsecured credit card that will give you like $1,000 limit, and then you can put more bills on it, but pay it off every single month. Next is something that I feel like I coined. I don't hear anybody else say this, but use it on normal spending categories. Like for the gold card, I have the Amex Gold card, which a normal spending category would be groceries for me. A normal spending category would be dining for me because I do eat out a lot. That's where I spend maybe $200 a month or so on different things, different experiences, different food options. Also gas stations, I'm not talking about the gold card, but other cards. Also gas stations would be a normal spending category because if you drive to work, it's something that you're spending money on every single month. A category that's not normal spending, a miscellaneous category or frivolous spending category, is going to be something like clothing. You didn't really need to buy clothing unless you needed to buy a jacket. That's something that you budgeted for, and that's a different story. But if you go out and buy clothing every single month when you don't need to buy clothing, that's technically considered a frivolous spending category. If you budget clothing and you feel like you do spend clothing, then it would be a normal spending category for you, and you can go on about your day because you're budgeting $100 for clothing every single month. But I wouldn't say that clothing would be a normal spending category for me because I don't try and spend money on clothing every single month. But yeah, always make sure you're spending in normal spending categories so that you get the max amount of benefit from whatever you're spending money on and from that credit card. And the last thing I have on here is never do cash advances. Cash advances are horrible because you always have a fee. There's some times to where you don't have a fee, but in most cases you will have a fee, which will be like $5 or 3% or $5 or 5% or even upwards of 10%. It depends on what card you're using, but cash advances could be deadly to you. So don't ever do it because then they're getting money out of it. You're not getting money out of it. You're getting physical cash, but it's not going to help you out. And a lot of times the interest rates on cash advances are a lot higher than the regular interest rates on purchases. So always keep that in mind. It could be 30% versus 20% that you have, for your normal interest. So don't do cash advances. Do it on your debit card. If you don't have any money in your debit card, then you need to find a way to get some money in your debit card because I don't recommend doing cash advances. But yeah, that's basically my breakdown of how to use a credit card. Now, there are a number of other tips you can put in here and we can do a lengthier video, but I didn't want to make this video extra long. I wanted to give you 4 unique tips that you can apply to your credit card situation, especially if you're new to using credit cards. But that's my video, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more videos just like this one. Also, check out my links down below to my store, to Webull to get your 2 free stocks. And then also check out my referral links. I have a bunch of referral links for credit cards down there if you're interested in any of those. But that's my video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to get out of here and I'll catch you guys in the next video.